Appeals. Meredith, would you please call the roll?
Karen Berger.
Present.
Nicole Henniger.
Present.
Raphael Katz.
Present.
Linda Thomas.
Present.
Joe Circuzzi.
Present.
Charlotte Burry.
Present. I need a motion for approval of the minutes of December the 18th, 2025.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. It passed. For those of you that have never been before the Zoning Board of Appeals before, the two people to my right and the three people to my left, we are Pompano Beach citizens, and we serve without any compensation to hear your cases and for your variances and special exceptions. To my far right is Scott Reale, which those who are petitioners probably know Scott and have met with him already. And to my far left is our city attorney, James Saunders, who keeps us straight and narrow. And the young lady, Meredith, that's behind all the glass, she's the one that keeps us totally straight, that everything that, and if you've written any letters, and all your petitions and everything go to Meredith, and they all come to this board, and we get them, and we like you to know that we actually read them. In a few moments, I'm going to ask Meredith to swear you in. This is a quasi-judicial board, meaning it's just like a courtroom with a judge and we're the judges, and everything must be recorded. If you are planning or even thinking about speaking at this, please stand and raise your right hand.
Do you swear or affirm the evidence you are about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
You may be seated.
Did you all say I do? Okay. There is another thing I'd like to say. When you come to that microphone or this microphone, for some reason when you speak into it, you can hear my voice way out there, but you don't hear it up here. So if you're short, bring it down to you. If you're tall, bring it up to you and talk into the microphone to make sure everything that you say is on the record. Did I miss anything? Nope. So I will call the first item on our agenda, which is Planning and Zoning number 2517000011, Festival Center LLC for a special exception. Would you come to the microphone, please? Please state your name and your address.
Good
and
evening.
Then Scott Reale will read in the city's opinion.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Jana Loda. I'm an attorney with the law firm of Holland & Knight. The spelling of my name is L-H-O-T-A.
Thank you. Mr. Reale.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good evening, everyone. For the record, Scott Reale with Development Services in P&Z case 25-17000011. The applicant landowner is requesting special exception approval as required by section 155-4219H1 of the Pompano Beach Zoning Code in order to utilize the subject property, which is zone B3 and B3 PCI, for a car wash. The property is located at the southeast corner where Northwest 27th Avenue terminates at West Sample Road in Northwest Pompano. This subject property comprises 3 contiguous vacant lots within the Pompano Industrial Park 3rd Edition subdivision. The site was formerly occupied by a gas station and car wash, which ceased operations in 2017, and the structures were subsequently demolished in 2022. The applicant, L Car Wash, proposes to develop a new 5,000 square foot fully automatic car wash facility on the 1.14 acre site. The proposed development includes a conveyor-style wash tunnel, vehicle entry and loading area, office, restroom, equipment room, and associated improvements such as parking, landscaping, and access drives. Car wash facilities are permitted within the B3 General Business Zoning District only by special exception. This application seeks that approval. If granted, the applicant must subsequently obtain site plan and building design approvals, Site plan application PZ number 25-12000013 was reviewed by the Development Review Committee on December 3rd, 2025. The southernmost parcel is Zone B3 PCI. That's general business, planned, commercial, industrial. The existing PCI does not identify car washes as a permitted use. However, the conceptual site plan confines all car wash operations within the two parcels zoned exclusively B3, general business. The plan also proposes a dedicated right turn lane along eastbound Sample Road with right turn only egress to both Sample Road and Northwest 27th Avenue. The applicant submitted conceptual site and landscape plans, a market feasibility analysis, and a traffic and queuing study, preventing off-site impacts. The applicant's narrative and market analysis suggest strong local demand for additional car wash services within this trade area. The property is surrounded by vacant land and existing commercial or industrial uses with no nearby residential development that could be adversely affected. Staff finds the proposed car wash to be compatible with the area's established automotive and service-oriented character and supportive of the corridor's ongoing redevelopment. The applicant has addressed all 13 special review standards, including the special criteria applicable to car wash facilities as outlined in the city's zoning regulations. As I indicated, there are 13 special exception review standards, and should the board determine that the applicant has provided competent, substantial evidence sufficient to satisfy the 13 special exception review standards, staff requests the board include the following conditions as part of the order. 1, the applicant shall obtain all necessary governmental permits and approvals, including but not limited to site plan, building design, zoning use certificate, and business tax receipt prior to commencement of the use. 2, the development shall be constructed in substantial compliance with the conceptual site and landscape plans submitted as part of this application, subject to further technical review and approval during the site plan review process. And the third recommended staff condition prior to issuance of building permits, the applicant shall record a unity of title or similar instrument acceptable to the city attorney, unifying the 3 subject parcels into a single development site, ensuring the property functions as one lot for zoning and development purposes. And that concludes staff's report, and I'm available for questions.
Thank you, Scott. Please go ahead.
Thank you. Once again, Jana Loda for the applicant. Also with me here tonight are a number of members of our project team. I'd like just to quickly introduce them. A few of them will come up tonight to talk to their respective disciplines, but we have Moaz Saeed. He is our traffic engineer. We also have our landscape architect, Tom Hargett, and George Balaban with Kimley Horn that are also here this evening, as well as a principal with El Car Wash, Alex Quintana. I'm not sure if the owner's representative, Ron Brill, made it here or not, but he is also anticipated to be here. Before you this evening, I got it to work. We're, again, before you this evening, seeking a special exception approval for the development of the property located at 2690 West Sample Road. Just to orient the property for those in the audience and up on the dais, the property is located at the very north end of the city, at the southeast corner of Sample Road and Northwest 27th. Across Sample Road is the Broward County North Regional Landfill Facility in unincorporated Broward County. To the northeast across the road is the city of Deerfield Beach. To the east and to the southwest, as you can see, there is a conservation easement that will be maintained. You'll see that in a moment with how we are protecting that asset. Further to the east is commercial, and then to the south and west is all industrial. See, I told you I should do this by hand here. At this point, I'm going to try to keep things moving along, but I did want to have the principal from El Car Wash come up, just briefly talk a little bit about who is El Car Wash and getting into the specifics of their business platform, which I think makes them unique from most other car washes and certainly the car washes in the area.
Yes, sir. Now, I know
Yes.
she introduced you, but
Yes.
you still have to state your name, spell your last name, and your address, please.
Yes, ma'am. It's Alex Quintana. That's Quintana. And then 2753 Northwest 87th Avenue, Doral, Florida 33172.
And have you been sworn in?
Yes, ma'am. I did stand up and say I do.
Okay,
All right.
please,
Yes.
go ahead.
So originally, El Car Wash was established in 2011 with our original Bird Road location for people that have been down to the Miami area. Just a quick overview, in 2018, our current CEO, Jeff Karras, came in and bought the 6 operating locations in the Miami area. Since then, over the next 4 years, leading up to 2022, we expanded to 17 car washes in the Tri-County area, and we were purchased by Warburg Pincus, which is a private equity firm, and as of today, we are operating 90 locations with over 450,000 members between the Michigan and Florida markets. We expand all the way up to Jacksonville now and into the Fort Myers area. And then beyond in 2026 and 2027, we're expected to grow to 170 stores between all of our markets, as well as breaking into the Midwest and Mid-Atlantic markets between Philly, Chicago, and New Jersey. So we are a continually growing business. And we just have core values. We see ourselves almost as a hospitality brand instead of a car wash brand. As you can see, we have our key pillars and our core values, which is the people, excellence, community, growth, and fun. We like to be pillars of the community. We are integrated with, most of our customers are from within 3 to 5 miles of our sites. Same with our employees. We work with many charities in the local communities that we operate in, and we're not here just to build it and forget it. We're there to build alongside with the community. So as you guys have continued to grow and bring and welcome and do development, we want to grow with you guys from a Broward County level. Also, some of the reasons why we wash. We go from the rational to the emotional, and we also like to think that we do good and look good and feel good. Our cars in this area, we spend a lot of time in them between traffic, commutes, and just weekend activities. So we like to focus on, we're just not a car wash. Some people think of it as a therapy. Some people think of it as part of their everyday routine. And, just taking pride in that asset that you're, is one of your biggest purchases in your life. And between our 90 sites, you can see kind of how we've kept the consistency as we've continued to expand. Between our 90 operating locations, we average out on Google with a 4.7 out of 5 rating, with over 10,000 or with almost 10,000 reviews. And as you can see, those are some of our 5-star reviews. As you mentioned, or as I mentioned previously, had me smiling even on a bad day. Sometimes just cleaning up your car just makes you feel better. So that's what we try to keep, that consistency on a regional and an area basis. We really build out that pillars of just constantly checking in on multiple touch points, that we're constantly revamping our sites, making sure that the equipment's running optimally as we continue to grow this business. I'm going to turn it back over to Janet here.
All right. Forgive me here. Before I launch into the application, one of the things in this slide is intended to demonstrate is the community aesthetics. Just like coming into a community and being a partner, we look to make sure our buildings are adapted to whatever the aesthetics are of the community. You see some images there in the lower right in Palm Beach Gardens, City of Fort Lauderdale, and others. All right, so turning back to the site at issue, here's a little bit closer up aerial of the site. As staff indicated, it's comprised of 3 parcels, approximately 1.14 acres. It's zone B3 with an underlying land use of commercial. The image on the right, I wanted to include that for a number of reasons. One is that this site was historically used as a gas station, which is actually a more intensive use than the use that we're proposing. Also, that aerial on the right shows the access points currently serving the site. There is a right-in, right-out off of Sample Road, as well as a right-in, right-out off of 27th Avenue. As I delve into the site plan, you will see how we are significantly improving access to the site, not only by relocating the access points, but also constructing a right turn decel lane into the singular access into the site. All right, so here's a rendered site plan. We have that nice one-dimensional one, but this one really helps you to see not only the circulation, but the pavement markings, the building orientation, the finishes, and the landscaping. This is a view looking to the east. You have Sample Road to the left. At the bottom of the screen is Northwest 27th. The first thing I want to orient you to is the orientation of the building itself. This is something that's consistent with the principles in your zoning code with that new urban design to locate the buildings closer to the right-of-way with the activity located behind, and that's what we've accomplished here with this building design. The building's actually located up in that corner, and with all of the vacuum stations and circulation actually happening on the south side of the building. You'll also see here the revised access points. If you can visualize the pedestrian access to the north of the building and the pedestrian access to the west, to the sidewalks, that's the approximate location of the prior access serving this property. We are proposing to relocate the access, which is the main access and only access into this property on Sample Road, further to the east, as shown in this image. We are also relocating the access onto Northwest 27th further south, which provides a much greater opportunity for anyone leaving the site. And the final thing is we're making the access onto Northwest 27th a egress only, so there is no ingress at all at that location. Also that you can see here is you see that eastbound decel right turn lane into the site off of Sample Road. That is a significant improvement because it allows vehicles to actually get out of the eastbound through lanes into a decel lane to turn into the property, which is a much better condition that presently exists today. And the last thing I would just like to highlight is the bus stop. It is being maintained and has been relocated with new street trees being planted within the swale there, which should offer some respite for people awaiting a bus at that stop. All right, here's another rendered site plan. This is a view looking north. So of course, Sample Road is located north of the building. And this is the same orientation of the site plan that you're going to see in just a moment. What you see here is a number of things, and I'd like just to walk you through the operational and circulation aspects of El Car Wash. Again, the only entrance into the site is off of Sample Road, and as a customer enters the site, they have an option either to use one of the complimentary vacuum stations or to continue on south around the site clockwise into one of the two through lanes that you see on the far western side of the site. The site is serviced with a number of complimentary vacuums in the center core of the site. As a person enters, if they either choose to use the complimentary vacuums, they can then go into the queue, or they can go straight into the queue and do any vacuuming they may choose after. One of the hallmarks of El Car Wash is that a significant portion of their customer base are members, and we anticipate that many of the people, most of the people that are going to use this facility are existing members of El Car Wash. Their platform of having facilities throughout South Florida means that you may live in Miami, and if you're up in Pompano on business and you're driving by, there's easy access for you to pull in and get your car washed. It's quick, fast, and fun, as Alex had indicated. On the far left there, you see there's two kiosks. The first thing of note is that there will be an employee station there, just from the standpoint of helping answer any questions that people may have or making sure any transactions happen seamlessly. The kiosks have no speakers whatsoever, so there's no sound emanating. And another important thing to note is that it is a cashless system. There's no cash on hand. Any transactions are by credit card. If a customer decides they don't want a car wash, there is a relief lane that after the kiosks they can turn right and exit the site, or they'll proceed on into the tunnel where there's another staff member waiting to make sure the car is safely guided onto the conveyor system. At that point, the car wash lasts 3 to 5 minutes max, and they can exit the site and either choose to vacuum or exit the site completely. One thing I also wanted to highlight that we added, it was not required, but you see a concrete screen wall that we are proposing at the exit to the car wash tunnel that wraps around the whole exit to the car wash. So that was done just to help elevate the site from an aesthetic standpoint. You also see the retaining wall that will be proposed along the east and southerly edges of the property. That is to address the grade elevation change that's associated with new development and to ensure that the wetlands are protected. The one thing that is not showing on this, and I just want to highlight, is that there will be a picket fence along the entire east side except for the entrances, so that the entire site, other than the entrances, will be secured during operation. So here's the, I guess, one-dimensional view of the site plan. Now you see why I showed the rendered site plans. It's easier to kind of track circulation. But this shows one of the key points, and that is queuing. We know that's something that is very important to the city for uses like this. You'll hear in a few moments from our traffic engineer who provided the queuing analysis and study in his traffic impact study. Staff indicated we have queuing for 16 cars, and I just want to put that in context. If you measure from the kiosks, the 2 kiosks on the west side of the site plan, to the very first set of vacuums, that is 16 cars. But as you can see from this image, there are much more cars shown on the site. From the second stop bar back up, that's another 10 cars. If you count the cars north of the kiosks through the tunnel, that's another 11 to 13. So just counting the 2 at the rear, we have double the queuing that's required at our peak surrogate sites that were studied as part of the study. As part of the study, they looked at surrogate sites in other areas of El Car Wash's portfolio that were similarly situated, and the maximum queue that was identified at all peak hours was 12 cars. We're providing more than double that amount on the site. All right, now I'm just going to walk you through some renderings and highlight a few items. This is a rendering, again, just to help give a flavor of what the site will look when it's fully developed. This is a view from the intersection of Northwest 27th and Sample Road. This is a view looking across the site to the southeast, and you can see the layered landscaping, including the various trees that are being planted to buffer the building, as well as within the right-of-way. This also, just in case you're wondering, shows El Car Wash's new branding and their signage as well. All right, now we've continued a little bit down Sample Road. This is the main entrance, the only entrance into the facility. You can see again that same landscaping, the continuation of the sidewalk. You see the screen wall that is wrapping around the tunnel to the facility. Now we are inside the facility, and just a few things here I would like to highlight. First off is that we have something that's a hallmark of El Car Wash, which is something that's been really applauded in other jurisdictions, and that's the extent that they go to actually hide the vacuum hoses. They have designed a tubular aluminum canopy design that provides a modicum of shade to our customers, but which also does a very good job of hiding those hoses. One thing also I want to point out is in the forefront there, that is the dumpster enclosure, which is landscaped on 3 sides. But also beyond that, you see another concrete enclosure. Unlike gas stations and a lot of other car wash uses, all of the vacuum stations that you see on the site plan operate off of a single producer. That's the actual equipment that makes the noise. That producer is enclosed in a concrete enclosure with 8-inch thick walls. That, coupled with the other equipment that we deploy on site in the tunnel, assures that we will comply with the city's noise ordinance, actually be below the city's noise ordinance at our property lines. Since we are surrounded by industrial and commercial, so you know, the decibel readings are 65, 24 hours a day. However, with the operational design that we have for the producer and everything else, our decibel limits will be well below that. This also shows the landscaping islands that are incorporated through the entire site. All right, this is a view from 27th. This is across the street at grade, and again, you can just see the egress and the landscaping with, again, only that picket fence I mentioned earlier missing. Here's a little bit close-up view aerial, and again, you see the landscaping that's being proposed and the egress-only movement onto 27th. Design and screening, I've already highlighted the landscaping, the screen wall coming out of the tunnel, a host of different methods that we use to screen the activity, as well as the placement of the building up on Sample and 27th. All right, now is the landscape plan. I was going to have our landscape architect come up, but in an effort of trying to keep this moving, I'll quickly cover this for you. This is the landscape plan that shows the various trees that are being planted throughout the site, as well as hedges and other material. We are meeting and exceeding the code in a number of respects on this site, including the planting of street trees within the swale that presently do not exist. And just here's another rendering that kind of animates that landscaping. Again, it's multi-layered, multicolored to really add interest. El Car Wash does a very good job with not only their landscaping, but the maintenance of their sites. So now I'd like to ask our traffic engineer to come up, and he'll reintroduce himself and just go through a few slides on our traffic.
Thank you, Jana.
Good evening. Would you please state your name, spell your last name, and your address, please?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Moatazad, Moatazsaad. Address 17200 Northwest 64th Avenue, Miami Lakes, Florida, 33015. I'm the traffic lead in HPC Engineering Company and supporting, working with El Car Wash.
Please go ahead.
Okay, I'm gonna go through some technical numbers here regarding the traffic in the area. It's not as cool as the rendering that Jana was showing earlier. So we have performed a study, traffic study for traffic generation and distribution, traffic impact study showing the full traffic generation following the ITE guidelines and the approved standards. We can see that the development is generating 991 daily trips with 89 AM peak hour trips and 78 PM trips. And when we considering the pass-by trips, which is the vehicle is already on the route and is stopped for the car wash, and as they were saying earlier, the El Car Wash is a membership based. We can see there's a reduction in the net new trips to 307 daily trips with 28 AM peak hour and 23 peak hour trips, which is almost 70% reduction. And also we have performed a traffic study on the intersection, the impacted intersection on the Simple Road with 27th Avenue. And we can see it's operating currently on level of service B for AM time and level of service C for PM time, which is considered acceptable. And with adding the trips generated for the El Car Wash, we can see it's maintaining the same operation with level of service B for the AM and level of service C for the PM, which indicates a minimal impact here and no reduction in the level of service. And going through the queuing analysis, as Jana was explaining earlier, showing the site plan here, that we have 16 vehicles and additional 10 vehicles that it's not impacted on the internal site circulation, which shows 26 vehicles. And based on the surrogate study that we performed with 2 surrogate sites of the El Car Washes, we observed a maximum of 12 vehicles, and the site here is showing 26, which is more than double the number, which showing that there is no impact on the queuing or any spillbacks on any adjacent roadway. We're talking about the Sample Road here. And for the highlighted traffic improvements that Jana was highlighting earlier, also that we're relocating the Sample Road axis, and we have a single entrance here at the Sample Road, the eastbound right turn into the property, and also only one egress here on the 27th Avenue. And for the market analysis.
Right, so So just real quick, and I neglected to do it earlier, but I do have a few, I have curriculum vitae for all of the experts that are testifying today, so I'll make sure to provide that to Meredith, as well as just another copy of the traffic study and the feasibility, so I'll bring that over to her in just a moment. But right now, I'd like to have Alex come back up as the business person for El Car Wash to talk a little bit about the feasibility study that we commissioned in connection with this application.
Thank you. So as you are aware, there are multiple types of car washes. You have your gas station car wash, which is also known as a touchless car wash, one car at a time. You have conveyor car wash, which are full or express car washes. So we would be classified on the express car wash. You have the self-serve, which is more of the old school, the bay with the pressure washing gun. And then you have a hand wash detailing service. So we ran a marketing analysis. So as you can see on this diagram, the green lines are the city boundaries for Pompano Beach. And as you can see, our site is up there in that northwest corner. And our current location that's under construction is on that eastern boundary of the city. So, you know, part of our marketing analysis that we created was assessing the need for a new car wash in your guys' community. And as we could see, there's no one within 3 miles of the radius inside the city limits. And as Jana has mentioned as well, 85% of our customers on a daily basis are usually membership. So they're already using an existing facility. And so as we scouted out this site and we've continued to develop this site, we've realized that this is a hole that we need to fill and to create the interconnectivity that we're currently expanding in the Broward area, or Broward County area. So we did have a market feasibility study put together by BBG Real Estate Services that's been provided. And so it showed that there was a significant demand for additional car washes within the local market. And then that the population totals in the area in combination with the other existing car washes indicate that the market is considered undersupplied. And also internally, we've looked at our customer data and we noticed that a lot of our customers were kind of falling in this area that we needed to fill in the gap. So that's why this site came about, and we decided that this would be a great site. So we will now have a car wash on your eastern boundary and hopefully on your northwestern boundary of your city. As Jana mentioned, just real quick with our sound analysis, I won't beat a dead horse here with reiterating, but we do put them in a concrete enclosure. Sound studies are also decibel, you know, we learn about it in elementary school and then we always forget about it. So I like to put this chart up there to kind of show what sound level we're talking about, because you just hear 65 decibels and you think, wow, that could be pretty loud, but it's in between a conversation at a 3-foot radius or a classroom chatter, which is 70 decibels. So at our area, it's no louder than what we're hearing right now. And so we do a really good job of enclosing those enclosures. We use pressure plates so our motors aren't constantly running inside the tunnel. So as the car hits certain parts of the tunnel, certain equipment turns on and off. And that's why we also locate our back producers inside the central parts of our site, so then the sound has time to dissipate. Also, we focus on sustainability at our car washes. So we have 3 2,000-gallon reclaim tanks, and we use anywhere between 20 and 30 gallons of fresh water per car. The remaining water that's used is reclaimed water. So it goes through the 3,000-gallon baffle tanks and then through an oil sand separator, which then goes out to your system. So we are essentially dumping out clean water into your guys' system versus washing your car at your home and you're just going straight into the storm water. So we try to focus on that. That's one of our big initiatives, and we continually optimize our tunnels, as we mentioned, and we're trying to work down this year to get below 20 or at 20 gallons of fresh water per car. And now I'm just going to turn it over to Janet to go over the criteria of the special exemption.
Yep, that's what I was so.
And so we are now in the home stretch.
Right.
As staff indicated, there are various criteria for the granting of a special exception. And just to clarify, and this is defined in your code, a special exception is not a prohibited use. It's just a use that, due to the nature of the use, there's criteria to make sure that the design, the location, and the operation ensures that the use is compatible with the surrounding area. So I just wanted to put that out there. So looking first at the first criteria, the consistency with the comprehensive plan, and all of this is in our narrative, and I know you all had that in your backup, so I'll go as quickly as possible. The use is consistent with the underlying land use as indicated by staff. It furthers many goals, policies of the city's comprehensive plan. I have many of them listed here, including the pedestrian connections, the new traffic improvements that's being proposed. We're preserving residential single-family neighborhoods. We're over half a mile from the closest residential neighborhood. I think the closest one is Whispering Pines Mobile Home Park on the east side of Power Line. We're meeting all state, county, and city floodplain requirements, the landscape code, as well. Although the site's vacant, it is served by public facilities, as it was formerly a gas station and car wash. CTEP, if you had the part of the backup, was a whole plan that showed all of the crime prevention through environmental design that has been incorporated into the project. And Alex just went through a number of the items that we further in the potable water and conservation elements, including the reclamation systems, the use of a compact building design, energy efficient lighting, filters that treat water, pre-treatment before it's discharged into the sewer system, among others. The next criteria is that we comply with all applicable zoning district requirements. We have been undergoing our DRC review, and at this time we are meeting and exceeding all of the requirements. I believe we've gone through 2 DRC reviews, and nothing's been identified as far as anything that requires a variance on this project. There are specific use requirements outlined in Section 155, 4219 of the code, and all of those are met as well as indicated by staff in their presentation. The next criteria relates to overburdening available capacity of existing public facilities and services, including but not limited to streets and other transportation, schools, and potable water. Again, the project design, we've already gone into how highly sustainable and what a green use it is, because it significantly reduces water usage that you typically see on individual car washes, recycles water, environmentally friendly products, biodegradable products. You heard from our traffic engineer with respect to a summary of his traffic impact statement that any traffic impact is minimal. In fact, the traffic impact associated with this parcel based on its prior use as a gas station actually results in a reduction of trips. That, coupled with the fact that the trips that are associated with it, a significant number of them are actually pass-by traffic, which are trips that are already on the road, and that is in part a product of the model of our business. We're improving access both on 27th and on Sample, and improving it also by constructing an eastbound turn lane. This crime prevention principles also are incorporated into the project, and Alex already talked to you about how we integrate ourselves into the community. So we do support public schools financially and operationally, even though we have no impact on them since it's not a residential development. The next criteria is whether or not the use is appropriate for its location and compatible with the general character of the neighboring lands. And here again, we are on a major arterial road through Broward County, and that being Sample Road, at the very, very north end of this fine city. We are completely surrounded to the north, east, southwest by commercial and industrial uses, with the regional landfill and the city of Deerfield Beach to the north. Already talked about the residential, and again, the feasibility analysis demonstrates that there's no other member-driven, express-only, because I want to point that out because I believe you may hear from someone who is a car wash in proximity that has full-service detailing services as well, which is not something we do at all. The next criteria is that the site avoids significant adverse odor, noise, glare, vibration. Again, there's no evidence whatsoever on our sites of any odor. We actually use a HEPA filtration system as part of the vacuums. Our use is predominantly a daytime use. We typically open at 7 and we are closed by 9. So we usually say we're open dawn to dusk. No vibration, and certainly no adverse noise impacts. You've heard all the different methods that we use to make sure that our noise is completely mitigated. All other code requirements are being met. Adequately screens, buffers, or minimizes adverse visual impacts. Again, surrounded by commercial and industrial uses. Building orientation was done purposely to put the activity to the rear. We meet all of the requirements of the city code with respect to overhead door. We are meeting or exceeding the landscape code in terms of our street trees and landscaping. And again, I turn you back to how we are screening even the activity of the vacuum bays by using these decorative aluminum trellises and canopies to hide the actual hoses for the vacuums from view. Avoid significant deterioration of water and air resources, scenic resources, and other natural resources. And again, I turn to the sustainability of the use itself. And you can see all of those here. And again, I'm trying to quickly get through of them. One key thing is again, at-home car washes do not discharge into the sanitary sewer system. They discharge into your storm water systems, your canals, and your lakes. Maintain safe and convenient ingress and egress and traffic flow onto and through the site. All the construction here, again, is new. The access drives, we've already talked about that. The new turn lane, the limiting of the traffic onto 27th being egress only. The double, in some respects, if you include the queuing in the tunnel, triple the queuing on site. And then, of course, still maintaining off-site improvements with the sidewalk and pedestrian access and the new relocated bus stop. Fulfills a demonstrated need for public convenience and service of the population for the neighborhoods. And I apologize if I'm talking fast. I'm trying to get through this for you. Again, I refer back to the market feasibility analysis prepared by BBG that made the conclusions that there is a demand for additional car wash services in the local market. We know how fast Broward County is growing. Given the population totals and the lack of a modern express-only car wash along West Sample Road, there is a demonstrated need for this use. And then population totals in the area also indicate that the prospective car wash volume and the proposed facility will likely come from residents that are not currently using the services in the area. Allows for the protection of property values and the ability of neighboring lands to develop. I highlight that, as you know, the Festival Flea Market is undergoing development right now. To the east and to the southeast is a conservation area. All the construction here will be new and code compliant. And again, as far as any adverse impacts, none are expected from this development. And of course, we will comply with all relevant codes and laws. That concludes my presentation. I would like to reserve a few moments for rebuttal after comments from any other members. But I do thank you for your time and your patience, and I respectfully request your favorable approval of the project, as we do feel that we've met all of the criteria for granting of this use.
Okay, don't go away. Does any board member have any questions of the petitioner? No questions? Okay. Now, is anyone in the audience for this special exception that wish to speak that have been sworn in? Hearing none, is there anyone in the audience that would speak against this petition that has been sworn in? Please come to this microphone, sir. And please speak into the microphone first. State your name and your last name, spell it, and your address,
Good
please.
evening, everyone. My name is Tiago Dudas, Thiago. Last name is Dudas. My address is 3953 Cocoa Plant Circle, Coconut Creek, Florida 33063.
Thank you, sir.
Good evening, everyone. I'm here in behalf of my sister, Carolina Tambolini. Carolina, she is the owner of a Jets Car Wash. Carolina and Jets Car Wash team have been working hard to provide a great service for our community and our neighbors, and also have about 14 full-time employees that relied on their jobs with the Jets Car Wash. Jets Car Wash is located only 0.3 miles from this project, from El Car Wash project, which is literally across the street. El Car Wash meet all the criteria. As I can see it, and they build a nice and very professional locations, like as you can see, as they show you. But respectfully, I don't believe there is a need for 3 car washes just down the street on Sample Road and Power Line. There is another car wash which is only 0.6 miles from the project from El Car Wash. I don't believe there is a need for 3 car washes to be located, to be in a half a mile range between them. El Car Wash, as they can say, as they say, like, there's over 9 locations. They're growing, and they're planning to break, over 100 locations soon. So I do respectfully ask the city of Pompano Beach to consider, like, our request and oppose the construction of El Car Wash, at least at this site.
Thank you, sir, but I'd like to ask you one question. Is Jet's Car Wash in the city of Pompano Beach?
The address of a Jet's Car Wash, it does say Pompano Beach. For many years, as the previous owner is here, so the address, it is Pompano Beach.
Okay, thank you. I just didn't know where it was at. Thank you very much.
If I have a time, just one more thing, then I'd like to,
It's it's on the north side of Sample Road, so it's in the city of Deerfield Beach.
Seat of Deerfield now, yeah, with the rezone, thank you.
There may be a post office address at Pompano, but it's in the city
It's
limits
Deerfield.
of Deerfield,
Thank
yeah.
you.
just one more thing, do I have time?
Sure.
All right. So car wash generated frequent vehicles enter and exit, often result in congestion, sudden stops, and turning movements. This proposed location already experiences significant traffic flow, and additional vehicles activity will further increase the risk of accidents. Please also consider as well the factor that this location would be only 1 block away from a very heavily traffic highway entrance and exit, which is a Florida Turnpike.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you. Go ahead. Is there anyone else that would like to speak? Please come forward. What? Yeah. Have you been sworn in? No?
No.
Do you swear or affirm, you can raise your right hand.
Sure.
Do you swear or affirm the evidence you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening, everybody. My name is
Talk into the microphone. State your name.
my name
spell
is
your last
Sam
name and your
Agbar. It spells as Aghbar. Good evening, everybody. I'm the previous owner of Jet's Car Wash. I owned this car wash since 2010 to 2020. This car wash, it's a family-owned car wash. And now it's, I will say, it's owned by a minority woman, in this car wash. That's what it's owned by. As you guys know, El Car Wash, it's a huge private equity, and they expanding everywhere, going where other car washes, and basically, Jet's Car Wash, what it's called right now, they have 14 employees. Express Car Washes, they're known by easy operation, hiring 1 or 2 people to run the car wash. So basically, a car wash that size coming across the street from another car wash, basically the 14 employees, basically their job is in jeopardy. And they might not even have a job because a big guy coming across the street from a small car wash. So this is one point. So another point, El Car Wash, when they say there's a big demand for a car wash, I don't think there's a big demand for a car wash because there's 2 car washes down the street. And the demand is, I don't think it's existed. That's one point. Also, the flea market, now they are building a huge facility for Amazon. And Amazon, they run, I work with FedEx, by the way, right now. I'm a FedEx contractor. I own like 60 trucks on the road on 27th Street. So our terminal is down the street from the L car wash. So every day for FedEx, around 350 trucks, they go into that street to go to that turnpike. So I can imagine with this congestion, with traffic, how it's going to be with Amazon coming and going to the turnpike and FedEx going to the turnpike as well, how the traffic is going to be. So just put into your consideration the traffic jam it might cause, because with express car washes, there's a big line for them, and that could be a problem. That's all what I have to say. I appreciate your time, and thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone else in the audience who wishes to speak? Well, Jenna, you want to rebut and wrap it
Yes,
up?
I do. Thank you. Jana Loda once again for the applicant. I'd like just to, I guess, point out a few things. One is that, we've provided an expert report with BBG, our market feasibility analysis that shows, and it did an analysis of all the car washes within a 3-mile radius, which includes the Jets across the street. It includes, I believe it's called Max's Car Wash is what he was referring to. Both Max's and Jets are in the city of Deerfield Beach. Max's is by and large a hand or self-serve car wash. It's one, I believe, that has 3 bays. You pull in and you use the wand to clean your car. And then it has 2 conveyor systems that you can simply through, but little to no employees that I'm aware. So Jets and Max's Car Wash are very distinctive from L Car Wash. L Car Wash is 100% express-only car wash. We do have fewer employees on shift because of the nature of the use. We have typically 4 employees. I described basically where they're stationed, and one's proctoring the site, and then the site manager on shift. It's likely that Jets has more employees, largely because they have a different type of car wash business. The best way I can explain it, and I know that you all have dealt with this recently, is that there are many different types of car washes. There's the gas station accessory car wash, which was on this site previously, where the car simply pulls in, the equipment moves around you, and then you just pull out. There's then the hand car washes, the old-fashioned ones I know of, where you pull in and you have the wand and you actually spray your own car down. The hand detailing. Then there's the conveyor system car wash, of which we are. And of that, there's even different types. There's ones that are your full-service car wash, your Simonets. You pull up, you get out of the car, they vacuum, they do the wheel and shine, they do everything, and then you get back in. And then there's some that are they're flex. Jet's Car Wash, not only, and I have actually a slide that I can kind of quickly go to, just so you can see. This is Jet's Car Wash, which is located in Deerfield Beach across the street. This shows the various aspects of it. And here is from their website that shows that they have full service deluxe, ceramic, all of that. They also have detail services. They offer all of that on the property, of which we do not. The other thing, I know that there's a number of letters that were included in the backup of customers that were very supportive and, love the service they get at Jets, which is great. That's what's great about business, is that we elevate each other, and the fact that they have that loyal following is why I believe they're going to continue to be successful. But I just wanted to make sure that you are aware that they are distinctively different than L Car Wash. We've already indicated that the lion's share of our customers are members, many of them already members of L Car Wash, because our platform is distinctively different. With respect to the use across the street, recall it was the Festival Flea Market. It was a very large retail establishment, and we are actually decreasing as far as the intensity if you look at the historical use of our property when it was formerly a gas station over what's here today, and at the same time improving in many respects the access and traffic circulation both in and around our site. When it comes to the differing types of car washes, the best example I can give you is that just like any service, there are different types. There's different strokes for different folks. Some people want to just go to a quick drive-through restaurant. They want to go to a McDonald's or a a Mickey D's. They don't want to get out of their car, they just want to get their food and go. There's others that want maybe a little bit more service. So they're like the Panera people. They like to go in, they can order, they sit down, and they go pick up their food, and then they're at a table, and so that's kind of the halfway. Then you got people who want a full-service sit-down restaurant. They don't want to do anything. They want somebody to come take their order, bring them their water, and do everything for them. Our business is the same thing. And I just want to point out that when you look at the car washes in the city of Pompano Beach, and even accounting for Jets and Max's down the street, with the approval of this application, there will only be 4 100% express car washes in the city. This location, which is located at the very north end of your city on a major arterial road, which is a very good location, even Rising Tide, which was approved last May, I believe, which is in the central part of your city on Atlantic towards the west. Griggs, which is at the very south end of your city, and then the other El Car Wash, which is at the northeast on Federal Highway. Those are the 4, only 4, that you have in the city that are 100% express. The rest of them are full service, gas station, or others. So I just want to make sure I put that out there. Again, I appreciate the time that you've given me, and if you have any other questions of me or my team, we are available.
Okay, the public hearing's closed. Closing statement has been made. Does the board have any questions?
I do, yes.
Okay, Raphael?
And I understand that you're differentiating between an express car wash and a full-service car wash. And you pulled up the slide, the place across the street also provides express car washes, right?
It is a component of their business, yes.
Okay. And I have another question, I guess it's more for the city. Does it make a difference for our review purposes whether their business is in Deerfield versus Pompano?
That's up for you to decide. I mean, we
Because-
typically just look at the businesses in the city limits.
Got it, because my question is regarding Special Exception Review Standard 11, which is that the use fulfills a demonstrated need for public convenience and service to the population of the neighborhood for the special exception use, with consideration given to the present availability of such uses. The present availability is right across the street. So where is the demonstrated need for public?
In our markets, our feasibility analysis that was provided, which looked and included them in that appraisal, and found that based on a whole number of characters, and that is expert information that you received. The only thing that you've received here tonight is people almost like a fear. And I just want to put this back to you, because this is something as a board, I just want to make sure that when we're looking at this, is that there's any number of uses across your city that compete directly with other businesses next to them. If we're looking at a metric that we're going to look at what's around, you're never going to have a restaurant next to one another. You're never going to have a Burger King across the street from a McDonald's. And it behooves us to know that competition is not a bad thing, but I am trying to just point out to the board that respectfully that the car wash uses are markedly different. Ours is very highly member-based. We anticipate that a lion's share of the people coming to this are using our larger network. They're already members, so we're not mining from the car wash across the street. That, again, even our traffic study supports that with the pass-by traffic, and we have a very limited nature in our use. We don't do car detailing. We never will. We can put it in as a condition of our approval that we'll never do detailing. We do not do full service. We don't do the wheel and shine or vacuuming it for anyone. Again, something you can put on a condition. We're never going to do it. Our model is we do not want to touch the car, ever.
With all due respect, and I just want to ask you for your explanation, because you mentioned restaurants across the street from each other, et cetera, and I would agree with you, competition is good, never disagree. But if a restaurant came in asking for a special exception where there's other restaurants across the street, I'd be asking the same exact question. It doesn't matter what use it is. Because if there's no demonstrated need for the public convenience, meaning another restaurant, and they're asking for a special exception, I'd have the same question, whether it's a restaurant, a car wash, a hospital, I don't know, insane asylum, I don't care what it is, it's the same question. So it's not a matter of what's across the street. It's not a matter of preempting competition. I could care less, frankly. It's not within our purview competition. What's within my purview is the demonstrated need, and I'm having trouble finding it. And I get that you gave me an expert report, but I'm an attorney also, and I get expert reports. You know, we can get an expert to say the sky is purple. So I get it. But just because an expert says it doesn't make it so, correct?
I would say that in the absence of any competing expert report, that's the best evidence that you have as this board to rely on.
But we're free to accept it or reject it, correct?
That's up to your city attorney to advise you.
Okay, thanks.
One of the things that I think and I don't have enough information in front of me, but I think one of the things that we need to remain fixed on was what is before the board as it relates to, as Mr. Katz mentioned, about the neighborhood. Meaning that, is this board's jurisdiction to consider what's in another jurisdiction as it relates to the question he's asked? I'd be hard-pressed to say that this board has to consider what exists in the surrounding cities in order to determine its own jurisdiction. And so I would think the answer to the question, if you're looking at the provision he referenced, you are singularly looking at the city of Pompano Beach in that consideration. So if across the street the city of Deerfield Beach determined in its own comp plan and other land use regulations to do certain things, that has no bearing, at least for the jurisdiction of the city of Pompano Beach. That would, on a county level, that might be something to be considered as it relates to certain land use and zoning matters. But as it relates to whether or not to grant the special exception, I think the focus of this board must be on the city of Pompano Beach and its neighboring properties to the property that lies within its jurisdiction.
Its jurisdiction, correct. You have a question?
I do have a question. Sorry, I'm fighting a cold. Excuse me. I know you mentioned to the south there's a conservation area. Was there any research done as to the impact or the potential impact to that area?
My understanding is with the retaining wall, we're not going to have any negative impact on that area at all. We're actually designed our site around it.
Okay, I know that you are avoiding it, but I guess long-term, is this something that can be changed for development? Like, I guess I would like to...
I believe it's subject to a conservation easement. Don't quote me on that, but as you can see actually in this image fairly well, there's a retaining wall that's being built to assure that, literally raising ours up so that there's no issue. It's not like we're bleeding over into that. And again, all of our, for example, all of anything that happens in the tunnel, everything there is filtered and then discharged into the sanitary sewer. And the site will fully comply with all pervious, impervious, storm, drainage, all of that. And that's something I am sure, in particular, Broward County also looks at as part of their permitting.
And do you know if that retaining wall is being built anyway, or is that something because of this?
It's being built as part of our project because with the floodplain, we have to elevate the site. And as a result, because obviously we're not touching the conservation easement, it's requiring us to build that retaining wall to ensure that it's protected. And I do have our civil engineer, George Balabon, here, who might be able to answer it more intelligently than me.
I guess I'm just curious in general before he gets up. Maybe it's just that, why is that being built before this is approved?
Because right now it's vacant property. I don't know if that's one of the reasons, but here, George, come up, make sure.
Yeah, I'll answer the question. George Balaban, Kimley Horn, 8201 Peters Road, Balaban. I've been sworn in, yes. So the reason it's being built, it's required to, as part of flood compensation, you're required to have a berm for an entire property. So it's required to be built as a part of the development will be happening. It won't happen by itself. So as you're building the car wash, you'll build a retaining wall. Does that make sense, or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because as a reminder, the property is presently vacant right now.
Yes, I do.
You do, go ahead.
Well, one was what Raphael talked about, but we corrected that, I guess. The traffic study, I'm a little off on that, I guess. The traffic study he presented, I'm not sure about the whole thing because I didn't understand part of it, but my concern is you have FedEx trucks, and did you keep an account for the new warehouse? I mean, how do you know how much traffic's going to go there if it's not even open? Because that was just approved, and that's going to be a very massive production going through there. A lot of trucks, a lot of tractor trailers. You also have the turnpike. So that's why I'm trying to figure out how you got your analysis.
Well, before I turn it over to Mota, in connection with our approvals, we did, or in connection with preparation for this, we did pull the traffic information from the site to the west, which has all the driveway distribution information and other traffic data, so he'll speak to that in a moment. I also want to remind everyone that in the Festival Flea Market site, there is a full signalized intersection that will serve not only the racetrack that's proposed on the corner, but also that industrial use as well, that allows for that westbound left turn movement. If you're familiar with it, and I can go back to the original aerial, it actually shows that signalized intersection. So I'll turn it over to Mota now.
With that being said, also, I think if I'm not mistaken, we were coming off the highway, off Sample and 27th. So there's there analysis on 27th with all those Amazon trucks, with all the trucks and stuff coming from the new warehouse. So is that part of it, or is it just Sample Road?
So we did the data collection there, and then we forecasted also for the year of construction, and also we considered the Festival Industrial because we get all the data from there, which shows all the development that will be there, all the existing data, and we added to the synchro analysis, which is mainly a simulation that we do. We put the data there, we put the forecasting, and we run the simulation to show what will be all the traffic criteria there with the volumes of traffic volumes, with the level of service, which shows the congestion that will be, which we have from A to F. It's like the DOT, we don't approve the E or F, the acceptable until the D, and along the route we have B and C and D, which is within the approval. And as we showed on the 27 sample, we had the P and the AM and C and the PM, and with consideration of all the development, we still maintain the same level of service. And also for the delays, we have a minimal vehicle delays that will happen with consideration of all the development.
And if I could just clarify, and Jana Loda once again for the applicant. And this image kind of shows this whole concept very well. One, as far as the westbound movement from Festival, presently again, full signalized intersection on the Festival Flea Market site that can serve westbound traffic. Yeah, so, thank you. Now I gotta figure out where I'm at here. The other positive thing here is the relocation of the egress onto Northwest 27th. Presently, it is a right in, right out, and it's much closer to the intersection. We are locating it further south, and the only movement is egress only during our daytime hours, because we are a daytime operation. So not only are we building additional, I guess, I don't want to call it even stacking, but leeway for cars, because we believe the only cars leaving there are cars that are going to want to turn left. Because anybody going right are likely to go out the main entrance. Anyone coming into our site is coming on Sample Road now, and we're now providing a decel lane that doesn't presently exist and moving that entrance further east, so moving that movement away from the intersection. So these improvements, coupled with the reduction in trips associated with the change in the nature of the historical use, coupled with the fact that we are capturing pass-by traffic, we believe that, there's minimal impact, if any, on 27th because we're limiting the access onto that road to begin with the revised design.
Can I ask you a quick question about that? I'm sorry. Did you say that there was a bus stop on Sample right in front?
There is, my understanding is there's an existing bus stop. We are just relocating it because of the turn lane, and I don't know if I can show you with my cursor. You see it here with kind of it's not showing it, but that wider portion of the sidewalk just north of the center part of the building, that is the new bus stop.
So it's in front of where you'd be turning in?
It's basically, our turn lane will effectively become like a bus. The bus will pull into our turn lane and then go back out into traffic effectively. That is one of the things I believe is part of our DRC. Our bus stop obviously needs to be reviewed and approved by Broward County Transit because it is their stop, that, as I understand it. But right now, it is tentatively being shown there. It's right now directly on Sample Road.
What, 27th or Sample, which one is the most that they're going to be coming out and coming in?
Well, they're only coming in Sample because you
Okay.
can't come in on 27th.
Okay.
We anticipate again that since it's mainly pass-by traffic, that they're going to be coming in and out of Sample.
And 27th, nothing?
27th is still an option for an exit. We anticipate that it's likely going to be anyone who's wanting to go westbound. They'll exit there and basically
I think
use
there's a
the left
light
at the
there,
light.
am I right? Isn't there a light there?
There's a light at 27th and Sample,
Yeah.
and then there's a further light. Remember, there's a fixed median, so you can't
Correct.
make a left out. There's a fixed median that extends pretty far, I think, to the south end of the industrial site. You can't even, it's the fixed median runs, again, I think the entire length of the festival property. But there is a full signalized intersection at 27th and Sample, and then further west at the kind of centralized in the festival flea market property, if you can visualize that, is another full signalized intersection there as well. And the uses in there, according to our client, which was the owner of festival, is there's cross easements among those uses to be able to access that.
I have one more, maybe I can simplify it a little bit for the other gentleman. Just by numbers, how many vehicles are going to be going eastbound on Sample Road? Do you go by numbers, or what do you go by? What is there now, and then what are you saying that it could be?
Are you talking about the vehicle trips per day on Sample in
Yes.
the aggregate all uses?
Yes, because you're open from 7 to 9?
Wait, I just want to make sure you're not talking about just our use, you're talking about all uses.
Correct.
Like the total vehicle traffic on Sample.
Like right now, it's doing 1 million cars. What is it doing after yours? And then there's also going to be a gas station too, that's proposed, that's going up too. That's right across from you again, correct, on Pompano side?
Yep.
So there's another one there. So is all that, I want to know what it is now, and then what you're projecting it would be after.
All right.
And with the Amazon warehouse, all that.
All right. So currently, annually, it's a 55,000 on both directions on Sample Road, and 9,800 on 27. We talk hourly here because we did all the simulation, all the traffic analysis hourly, because this is the guidelines, and we can see it's very small here. I have the numbers. With without any development, we have 2,280 on the eastbound and 1,604 in the westbound. And with adding the car wash by itself, we are talking about 2,304, which is increase of almost 30 vehicles. That's for AM. 1,513 for the PM. That's for the eastbound. And for the westbound, we're talking increase from 1,604 to 1,620. And PM from 2,325 to 2,338, so it's a very minimal. And with adding the development and the festival industry, we can see, I will say the three numbers so I don't confuse, because maybe you already forget the previous numbers. So we're talking about the eastbound. It went from 2,280 without any development to 2,304 with the car wash to 2,476 with the whole development, which maintain the same level of service. We're talking about AM here. For the PM, 1,492 to 1,513 to 1,600, which also maintain the same level of service. That's the eastbound. Westbound follows the same trend.
So what would be what are you saying the total is? You said it was 55,000.
Annually.
What would it be now after that? How many more? 10,000 cars, 20,000?
We're talking about 700 to 1,000 extra cars. Sorry, overall, yeah, during the whole year, with all development.
With all three developments that
Yeah.
they're going to do?
16, sorry? Let me do the calculation very quick.
Again, I just caution the board over
It has a
the
reduction.
complexity of this question, because the question seems to pose about everything coming and going on Sample, as well as everything coming and going on Northwest 27th Avenue. And I kind of pull you back to your review standards, which are site-specific, and what the generation is as a result of that proposed use. And so when when the board is trying to grapple with that, it may create some confusion as to what is pertinent, or what you may be trying to drive at that relates to the review standards. So again, I just caution you on the questioning of phrased that way. If there's some specific, if it's an intensity you're concerned about, if it's something that's generated as a result of that proposed use, then maybe you want to fashion the question more related to that. And I think Ms. Loda would be able to respond, or the consultants that are here for the applicant.
Is there any other questions of this board of the petitioner? Okay, no further questions. I would entertain a motion. A motion, please.
I'll do it. In PNC case 25-1700011, I move we find there is competent and substantial evidence in the record that all the requirements for granting the special exception have been met, and that we grant the special exception subject to the 3 conditions requested by staff.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any further comments from the board? Meredith, would you call the roll, please?
Aaron Berger,
Yes.
Linda Thomas,
Yes.
Nicole Henniger,
Yes.
Raphael Katz,
No.
Joe Circuzzi,
Yes.
Yes.
Charlotte Burry.
Yes. Your special exception has been granted.
Thank you very much, and thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
Okay, board members, would you like to take a break? We've been on this item for almost an hour and a half. If you'd like to stretch your legs, and we'll come back and get to item number 2. So we're in recess now. Call this meeting back to order. Next item on the agenda is Planning and Zoning 25-11000020. It's a variance from the Pompano Beach CRA. And have you been sworn in?
Yes, I have. Thank you.
Please state your name.
My name is Paula West. I am president of Plan West. My address is 10152 Indian Town Road, Unit 159, Jupiter, Florida.
Thank you. Mr. Reale.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good evening again. Scott Reale with Development Services. This is P&Z case 25-11000020. The applicant landowner requests variances from the Pompano Beach zoning code to allow development of a restaurant on vacant property as follows. There are three different sections of the code you'll be voting on. The first is section 155-5101G3A, and that's to allow driveway access points located less than 100 linear feet from an intersection with Powerline Road. It's approximately 81 feet 10 inches at the Northwest 5th Street and 0 feet at Northwest 4th Court, where 100 feet is otherwise required. The second request is from section 155-5203D3C2, and that's to allow reduced perimeter buffer landscaping strip widths of approximately 7 feet along portions of the Powerline Road frontage and approximately 8 inches along a portion of the west property line where a minimum of width of 10 feet is required. And the third request is from table 155-5203F3, and that's to allow modifications and reductions to the required type B and C perimeter buffers along portions of the property in lieu of full compliance with prescribed buffer and widths and standards. The property is located along the west side of Powerline Road between Northwest 4th Court and Northwest 5th Street in the Northwest CRA. The applicant proposes development of a 1,448 square foot restaurant on a vacant half-acre site comprising 5 adjacent parcels. A minor site plan application, which is P&Z 25-12000012, was reviewed by the Development Review Committee on October 1st and December 3rd, 2025. The vast majority of the site is zoned B2 community business with a commercial land use designation. The westernmost parcel is zoned RS3, Single Family Residence 3, with a low residential land use designation. Since only landscaping is proposed within this residentially designated area, commercial flexibility to allow a restaurant in the residential land use was not required. There are no active building permits, code enforcement cases, or business tax receipts for the property. The requested variances relate to vehicular access separation and minimum landscape buffer widths. The applicant notes physical constraints that make strict compliance impractical. These constraints include the irregular shape of the property, a narrow pitch point along the west side, limited frontage conditions, traffic diverting islands on adjacent side streets, and a required right-of-way dedication along Powerline Road. Staff has analyzed each of the requested variances regarding driveway access. The proposed driveways don't meet the 100-foot separation requirement. The southern driveway is proposed as a right-out only to minimize traffic conflicts with Powerline Road. With regard to perimeter landscaping strip, portions of the site cannot accommodate the full 10-foot width due to the narrow lot configuration. Proposed widths are 7 feet along Powerline Road and 8 inches along a portion of the west perimeter at the narrowest point. And regarding perimeter buffers, modifications to type B and type C buffers are proposed at constrained locations. The remainder of the site meets code standards. The project is consistent with the B2 zoning district and commercial land use designation in terms of use and intensity. The narrow strip of residential land along the western property line is inconsequential and contains the landscape buffer for the adjacent residential properties. Proposed buffers, landscaping, and traffic mitigation measures address adjacency to residential uses. Approval of the variances would allow development to proceed while mitigating potential impacts on surrounding residential properties. There are 8 variance review standards. The applicant has addressed each of these in detail, and should the board determine that the applicant has provided competent, substantial evidence to satisfy those 8 variance review standards, staff recommends the following conditions be included in the board's order. 1, the applicant shall obtain all required government permits and approvals, including site plan, building, and zoning compliance approvals. 2, development shall be in substantial compliance with the site and landscape plans submitted with this variance application and site plan P&Z 25-12000012. All perimeter landscaping and buffers, including walls and screening, must be installed and maintained as depicted. Additional relief will require separate review. 3, the southern driveway, which is Northwest 4th Court, shall be limited to right out only. 4, prior to building permit issuance, right-of-way dedication along Powerline Road must be completed. And the 5th recommended staff condition, prior to building permit issuance, the applicant shall record a unity of title or similar instrument acceptable to the city attorney, unifying the 5 parcels into a single development site, ensuring the property functions as one lot for zoning and development purposes. And that concludes staff's report. I'm available for questions. And again, this is CRA is in full support of this.
Thank you, Scott. Before Paul, I am going to ask the city attorney. This is an item where we have to vote 3 separate motions, one for the driveway, one for the landscaping, and one for the buffer. There's 3 separate ones. I just want to let the board know that I'm going to be asking for 3 motions down the road. Thank you. Thank you for you. Go ahead, Paula.
Thank you. Again, good evening. Paula West, President of Plan West for the record. With me, I do have Stacy Boynton, who is the architect for the project. I have the 2 owners of the proposed business, the Bynums, that is Kenneth Bynum and Janice Bynum. I also have Kimberly Vasquez from the CRA if you have any questions. So a little bit of background on Big Tree Barbecue. They are a restaurant without a building. So they are a food truck. They have been in operation since 1999. They provide barbecue and soul food. They've done a lot for the city, actually. They've just heard, actually, that they catered the city's employee appreciation luncheon for the last 3 years. And they've done several events throughout the city, specifically at the Senior Center and the EPET Larkin Center. So that's a little bit of background on them. So they are the prospective future owners of the site. The site is currently owned by the CRA, and the CRA will be transferring the property to them after they get their permits and approvals and funding. I knew I missed something. So we currently do not have an address assigned to the property yet. As Scott mentioned, we are on Powerline Road between 4th Court and 5th Street in Collier City. The property is it's 5 different parcels. There's one little strip on the southwest corner that's an abandoned easement, and then the other 4 properties fronting on Powerline. To the east, we have the Worldwide Christian Center on the east side of Powerline Road. That is an RM12 multifamily zoning district. To the south, we have 4th Court and more B2 zoning. To the north, we have RS2 zoning, single family, and to the west, we have, directly to the northwest, we have a multifamily property, and then to the southwest, we have a single family lot. The multifamily lot, yes, is in B2 zoning. The other one is in single family zoning. So our variance requests, which are 3, yes, are kind of summarized in this diagram here. The first request that we're asking for is for the 2 access points into the site. They are circled in the diagram. The code currently requires the entry and exit points of a property to be set back 100 feet or more from a major street, this being Powerline Road. We cannot make that happen on the north side because of the size and configuration of the site. So we were able to do it at 81 feet about. And then on the south end, we're at 0 feet because of how narrow, extremely narrow it is on the south end. The second request is for a reduction in the buffer, and it's actually not the type C buffer, I just realized. So the blue highlighted in the diagram are buffers that we're required to provide for our adjacent neighbors. So to the north, and it's kind of messy, but to the north, next to the multifamily, we're supposed to provide a type B buffer. To the south, we're supposed to provide a type C. Both of them are 10 feet wide. The type C buffer next to the single family requires a wall between landscaping, and then the type B requires just a fence. For the record, we're providing a wall all throughout the west side of the entire property to be proper neighbors and for screening purposes. The third request is to reduce the yellow, which is the perimeter landscape strip. So similar to a buffer, the city code requires that you provide a 10-foot landscape strip, same width, next to, between your vehicular use areas, which are your driveways or your parking, and then your property lines. We cannot provide that on the west side because of that pinch point, and on the east side, we're providing 7, which is actually already constricted because of a dedication that we have to provide for Powerline Road. So this is an aerial view of the property. It's vacant, has been vacant for a while. And I also wanted to point out that to the north and to the south, as Scott mentioned, there are these traffic diverters that further confine our property with respect to access. So those little traffic diverters, during the DRC process, we talked to engineering to see if we could modify them or move them. The answer was no. That's another challenge that we have. I'll try to go through these as fast as I possibly can. So the first standard has to do with the extraordinary and exceptional conditions of the site. The property is very much constricted, not only by those access points and the traffic diverters, but mostly with that pinch point, and that's that little narrow portion of the site that's in the middle. We can't really do anything about the property next door. It's been actually in existence for a while as well. So was the single family home to the west, but that little pinch point is kind of driving the buffer reduction request that we have, and also the landscape strip reduction. Let's see. Yeah. So the buffer on the west side, as I mentioned, so on the south end, we are providing a 10-foot width. On the north end, from the pinch point, which is an 8-inch width, up to the 10, it kind of funnels that way. So we have to reduce it there. The perimeter landscape strip, as I mentioned, is about an 8-inch on the west side with that pinch point, and then on the east side is a 7-foot wide landscape strip instead of the 10. And then the access is, like I said, it was 81 feet on the north end and about 0 on the south end. And then, of course, I mentioned the 7-foot dedication of right-of-way that we have to provide. Second standard talks about the conditions of the lot not being the fault of the landowner. As I mentioned, this property has been vacant. It's been vacant since 1969, I believe. Yes, 1969. The multifamily lot and the single-family lot have been multifamily and single-family since 1969, as far as I saw in historical aerials. And give me one second. And as Scott mentioned, we are required to unify the parcel, so not including the easement little strip on the south end, the 4 lots that you see really cannot contain an actual commercial development in a commercial zoning district. They don't meet the lot width, which is 100 foot. They don't meet the lot area, which is 10,000 square feet. And individually, you may be able to fit in a single family home, maybe. Anything else is non-conforming. So the only way to make this work is to unify all of those parcels and make it into one consolidated development. As I mentioned, the traffic diverting island further restricts the access into the site. And then, like I mentioned, the properties have been vacant since 1969. So nothing has been developed, probably because of the size of the lots. Third standard talks about these requirements essentially prohibiting the development of the site. We just simply do not have the sufficient land to build the improvements to meet code. At the pinch point, we have about 28 feet, 8 inches in overall lot area or lot width. You're required to provide a 10-foot perimeter landscape buffer on the west side. We're providing a one-way 20-foot drive exit, a one-way exit out driveway to come out on Fourth Court. We can't even do a two-way driveway here, so we had to kind of make it a one-way, and of course, to meet fire access, we had to make it a 20-foot. So we're providing that, so you're required a 10-foot, you're required a 20-foot minimum, and then you're required another 10-foot, and we just simply don't have the 40 feet. As I mentioned, the fire access does restrict the width of the driveway that we're providing, and while we did look at, let me see if I can go up. While we did look at pushing the entrance on Fifth over further west, it could probably work. We wouldn't be able to make the 100-foot, but what that does is it restricts the fire access because fire really can't do that little sharp angled turn. And then, of course, on the south end, if you push the driveway or the exit way further west, you're in somebody else's property. Goes without saying. So next standard talks about this not being a special privilege. Any development that comes in to develop this property is going to have exactly the same variance request. They still have to provide the landscape buffer, they still have to provide the width of the driveway, and they still have to provide the landscape strips, and they still will have to provide the right-of-way dedication. As I mentioned, we're doing a one-way drive aisle, we're not doing a two-way. And then the whole vacant thing, that's the aerials from 1969. Next standard talks about allowing reasonable use of the property. Our buffer reduction is driven by the pinch point and because of the pinch point. The perimeter landscape strips are also a result of that pinch point in addition to the right-of-way dedication. And then, of course, the access point reduction is necessary because of not only the narrowness of the north end of the lot, but also the extreme narrowness of the southern portion of the lot. I am not going to go one by one through these. These are all in your backup. We address them, we list them. We actually meet every single one of the general purposes and intent items in your code. And like I said, we address them. And then, of course, in the B2 zoning district, it's built in the purpose that the B2 is meant for neighborhood restaurants and things like that, of which we are. Next standard talks about not affecting the health or safety of the neighborhood. This is, as I mentioned, a neighborhood restaurant. It is in a neighborhood zoning district, and it is permitted by right. It is not a special exception, just saying. The buffers that we're proposing, or the buffers and the landscaping strip, are including all of the landscaping that's required by code, as Scott mentioned. The only thing that we need is that reduction in width, and we're providing that wall that on the north end of the west buffer, we're not required to provide a wall, but we're providing that to be good neighbors. And then, of course, proposing to make the south egress point a right-out only helps to make the circulation of the site safer. And then the last standard talks about the different policies of the comprehensive plan that are supported by our request. This is redevelopment and infill. We are abiding by the right-of-way standards of Chapter 100. We're providing that dedication for Powerline Road. This is a use that promotes tourist accommodations. It's a restaurant. This is redevelopment in the CRA. And again, this is redevelopment and infill. We do have the support of the CRA. Of course, they are the property owner. And there's the Big Tree Barbecue website in case you want to check them out. And that concludes my presentation.
Thank you, Paula. Does the board have any questions of Paula? Is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak for this variance? Hearing none, is there anyone in the audience that wants to speak against this variance? Hearing none, public hearing closed. Again, does the board have any questions? Okay, no questions. I need a motion. The first motion for the driveway. Yes, they're all three of them are variances. One's for the the first one's for the driveway.
So in P&Z case number 2511000020, I move we find there's competent substantial evidence in the record that all requirements for granting the variance regarding the driveway have been met, and that we grant the variance subject to the 5 conditions requested by staff. 4?
Yes. 5?
5.
5. Sorry. Do I have a second? Second. Okay, it's been moved in second. Any further discussion? Meredith, would you please call the roll?
Raphael Katz,
Yes.
Karen Berger,
Yes.
Nicole Henniker,
Yes.
Linda Thomas,
Yes.
Joe Circuzzi,
Yes.
Charlotte Burry.
Yes.
Thank you, God bless.
Okay, that's number 1. You're not done yet.
Don't,
I,
don't count those chickens before they're hatched.
yeah, right. Now I need another motion
Which
to
one?
reduce for the landscaping.
Okay. In P and Z case 2511000020, I move to find that there is competent and substantial evidence in the record that all the requirements for landscaping grant the variance have been met, and that we grant the variance subject to
5.
5 conditions.
Second.
It's been moved in second. Any further discussion from the board? Meredith, please call the roll.
Joe Circuzzi,
Yes.
Raphael Katz,
Yes.
Karen Berger,
Yes.
Nicole Henniker,
Yes.
Linda Thomas,
Yes.
Charlotte Burry.
Yes. Okay, third and final motion I need for the modification of the buffers.
Modification of the buffers.
In P and Z case 2511000020, I move we find there's competent substantial evidence in the record that all requirements for the, what was it, landscaping, yeah?
No,
The buffer.
Modification.
Grant the
application.
granting the variance have been met, and that we grant the variance subject to the 5 conditions requested by staff.
Second.
Okay. Any discussion from the board? Meredith, please call the roll.
Raphael Katz,
Yes.
Joe Circuzzi,
Yes.
Karen Berger,
Yes.
Nicole Henniker,
Yes.
Linda Thomas,
Yes.
Charlotte Burry.
Yes.
Now, thank you and God bless.
Now you can thank us. It's all done. And if you are the restaurant owners, we, saw the pictures. We've read all the backup. We wish you all the luck in the world.
Yes.
It's quite a lovely looking
luck.
building.
Thank you.
Okay, onward to item number 3. P&Z case number 2511000021, a variance for Blossman Gas of Louisiana Incorporated. Please state your name and spell your last name and your address.
Dave Dixon, it's Dixon. Calvin Giordano and Associates on behalf of Blossman Gas, 1800 Eller Drive, Suite 600, Fort Lauderdale, Florida, 33316.
Thank you. Mr. Reale.
Thank you. For the record, Scott Reale with Development Services. This is our final case tonight. It's P&Z 25-11000021. And the applicant landowner is requesting a variance from section 155-4228A3AI, which are the outdoor screening standards of the Pompano Beach Zoning Code, in order to allow an 8-foot screening fence in lieu of a taller structure, and to permit mounted underground propane storage tanks to extend above the height of the required screening fence or wall. The variance is necessitated by the required design and installation characteristics of propane storage tanks, and by crime prevention through environmental design, that's CPTED, requirements, which preclude the use of taller opaque screening along the site frontage. The property is located on the west side of South Andrews Avenue, between Southwest 2nd Street and Southwest 3rd Street. The subject property is a .79 acre vacant parcel zoned I-1, which is general industrial, and designated industrial on the future land use map. There are no active building permits, code enforcement cases, or business tax receipts tied to the property. In 2024, the Zoning Board of Appeals approved a special exception, P&Z 24-17000004, allowing outdoor storage as a principal use associated with a propane storage facility. A minor site plan application, which is P&Z 24-1200000, 000017, has since undergone Development Review Committee review. The approved use involves propane storage tanks regulated by applicable state and federal safety standards, which require tanks to be installed on level surfaces and connected horizontally to fill distribution vehicles. As a result, although the tanks are proposed to be underground and earth-mounted, portions of the tanks extend above grade and above the height of the required screening fence. The applicant proposes an 8-foot semi-transparent metal picket fence which complies with the minimum height requirements of Section 155, 4228A3AI. However, the fence does not fully screen the tanks, prompting the need for the requested variance. During DRC review, the Broward Sheriff's Office and the city staff required that perimeter fencing remain transparent to maintain clear sight lines for law enforcement and emergency responders, consistent with SEPTED principles. BSO correspondence dated December 10th, 2025 confirms that transparent fencing is preferred for sites considered critical infrastructure within the energy sector, as it enhances natural surveillance and emergency response capabilities. A separate SEPTED waiver has been requested to allow a metal picket fence in lieu of an opaque wall within the required Type C buffer along the eastern frontage. Staff notes that this waiver is independent of this variance request, but directly affects the feasibility of increasing fence height to fully screen the tanks. The surrounding area consists of established industrial uses, including adjacent propane storage facilities to the south and west that contain above-ground storage tanks with minimal screening. The proposed development represents an improvement in screening and site design relative to existing conditions in the vicinity. Based on the nature of the propane storage facilities, applicable safety standards, and the industrial context of the surrounding area, staff finds that strict application of the screening height requirement would impose an unnecessary hardship while providing minimal additional public benefit. Staff finds that the requested variance represents the minimum relief necessary to allow reasonable use of the property and is consistent with the intent of the zoning code. Of course, there are 8 variance review standards. The applicant has addressed each of these, and should the board determine that the applicant has provided competent, substantial evidence to satisfy those review standards, staff recommends the board include the following conditions as part of the order. 1, the applicant shall obtain all required governmental permits and approvals, including site plan, building, zoning compliance, and SEPTED approvals. 2, development shall be in substantial compliance with the plans submitted with this variance application. Special exception, P&Z 2417-000004 and site plan 24-12000017, except as modified by the ZBA. And the third recommended staff condition, approval of this variance shall not be construed as approval of the requested SEPTED waiver, which shall be reviewed and approved separately by the Development Services Director. And that concludes staff's report, and of course, I'm available for questions.
Thank you. Mr. Dixon?
Thank you. That was very comprehensive, so I don't think I need to go too much deeper. I'm Dave Dixon, agent on behalf of Blossman Gas of Louisiana. This is a variance request to complete the approval of a propane storage facility at this location. We've gone through DRC. We basically had a pending development order, but on further engineering and more detailed engineering as you get further down the line, the tanks we realized had to be higher up. So when those tanks went above the fence height, 8 foot, then we're here today before you for that. So just a little bit of the background. Here's our colored site plan. The tanks are bottom left of the plan there. There's one point of access. It's for distribution trucks to come in, fill up the tanks, and then smaller distribution trucks take them out to the service area. There's going to be 2 tanks. We do have a special exception, as mentioned, for the use, and as noted, it does meet all DRC requirements and all other code requirements. just need this variance for the fence. So this is the spot for propane and always has been in Broward County, which is why the owner is particularly interested in this. It's close to transportation networks. You can see here, since 1963, it's been the spot for propane. So we're just trying to make sure that we get this industrial use on the industrial zone lot to work. As mentioned, it's for the height of the mounds, the portion of the mounds that will be above the fence screening. Now, of course, the screening fence is see-through as required by BSO, so it's sort of a moot point in a way, but it is the code, so we're requesting the portions that you can see here. If the top of the fence is 8 foot, top of the mound is 14 foot, the variance request is for that delta, that difference there. I do have the owner's engineer here to discuss particulars about why this has to be the case for this particular use.
Good evening.
Good evening.
David Kennedy, Kennedy, Blossman Gas. I'm 28 Ferncliff Drive, Asheville, North Carolina, so not in Florida.
Have you been sworn in?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Please.
So, real quick, just why we've got to be at the height we need to be at. Propane is in a liquid state when it's inside of these tanks. But it's called liquefied petroleum gas. It wants to be in 2 different states. It wants to be a vapor's form, okay? Pumps can't pump vapor. They can pump the liquid, but not the vapor. And so having a 2-state gas, like a straw, like if you were drinking out of a straw, if that was a 2-state liquid, it would turn into a gas as you were pulling it up. You're pulling the pressure off of it, so it turns into a vaporous gas. So you couldn't get it out. So yeah, we could put the tanks underground, but we couldn't get the product back out of it to fill the actual trucks, if that makes any sense. So the point is to get them up high enough so that we flood the pumps with product, so that the head pressure of that tank is always pushing the product out of it to supply the pump, so that the pump can actually work to fill the trucks up to go deliver to the homes. You're probably very familiar with underground tanks at the home. That's because the home doesn't actually use any liquid. It only uses the gas off of the top. So we can do it at homes, no problem, because we're not actually trying to pump and get the liquid out of that. If you've ever had a barbecue tank that has a barbecue grill with a barbecue tank, that's gas that comes out of that. So the way we're using it with moving liquid in and out, not really an end use application, is why it needs to be up this high so we can get it out and into the trucks.
That makes mathematical sense.
And if you notice, the mount that these tanks will be almost the exact height as all the other tanks around it. We even have to build it on the piers just like an above ground tank, but then we come after the fact and mount up over top of it to screen it. We really use that for more of environmental conditions and hazardous areas when we mount tanks, but in this instance we're doing it as a screening measure. Any questions?
Any questions from the board?
I just have a real quick question. When you say top of the tank mound, so like, what is it gonna look like the actual mound?
I think you have a good.
Do you have like a rendering of what that's?
Yeah, in fact, we have a generalized 2-scale rendering here that, actually, I'll just go through this real quick. That's our existing condition. This, you can see the elevation of the tanks to scale and the elevation of the fence. And then this is with the landscaping at installed height.
Looks fine.
So again, you can kind of see it there, and then with the landscaping. But that's generally the scale of that.
And if you go back one picture.
To the microphone, sir.
If you can go one picture, that's what a conventional tank looks like with piers, and then to go forward, that one?
Next one.
Good. There we go. And then we just cover that, what that conventional would look like with the mount.
Just really quick, I'm just very curious. The mound itself, does it look like concrete, or is it gonna be?
It's washed 57 stone, so what a gravel driveway would look like.
Okay. And you're planning to put all the trees in the way that the rendering shows, okay.
Any other questions from the board? Is there anyone in the audience that wishes to also speak in favor of this petition? Is there anyone in the audience that would speak against this petition? Public hearing closed. If the board does not have any questions, I would entertain a motion.
To the microphone, Ms. Thomas.
Oh, I'm sorry. I started. In P and Z case 2511000021, I move that we find there is competent and substantial evidence in the records that all requirements for granting the variance has been met, and that we grant the variance subject to the 3 conditions requested by staff.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Meredith, please call the roll.
Linda Thomas,
Yes.
Joe Circuzzi,
Yes.
Karen Berger,
Yes.
Nicole Henniger,
Yes.
Raphael Katz,
Yes.
Charlotte Burry.
Yes, your request has been granted. Okay, other business that we're on at the end of the agenda is to elect or choose a chair and a vice chair, and for that, I'm going to turn this meeting over to Meredith.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Members of the board, may I have a nomination for the chair position?
Yeah, Charlotte's doing a wonderful job.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
That's it.
I second it.
You're going to make me accept, right?
Yes.
I accept.
Do you accept? Are there any other nominations? No? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Is there anyone opposed? Hearing no opposed? Perfect. You are the chair.
You did a great job, though, Joe. You did a great job.
Terrible's next.
Joe is an excellent backup.
What?
Joe, he's good. He stays in his position. Keep him.
Well, go ahead, Meredith. You need a vice-
That sounded like a nomination to me, right?
And may I have a nomination for vice chair position?
Joe.
I'll second that.
A second. Are there any other nominations? Hearing none. Joe, do you accept?
Yes.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Hearing none. Joe, you are the vice chair. Congratulations.
Well, since I wasn't here in December, I didn't get a chance to wish everybody a very happy and a healthy new year. It's wonderful being here. And I guess we can be adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.
all. Thank you all.